Why do they call you the monster? Do you want other fighters to fear you? What's the hardest you've ever hit anyone? How do you not buy into all the hype about the monster? What do you want to walk away from this game? What must you do to leave your mark on the game? The monster!
How truly great Naoya Inoue is, all you need is former opponent Paul Butler.
Hand speed, he's got power, he's got good foot movement. Oh, he's tiny, him. How's he putting these people away? I thought he's tiny. But then when he gets in there, it's a little bit different when you're in there.
Could there still be anyone who doesn't believe that the monster is the best boxer of our time? Then this video is specially for you. Friends, today's video will be dedicated to the best performances of the Japanese phenomenon, Naoya Inoue. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and leave comments in 4 words. Now, let's get started.
Artist.
Kohei Kono. From 2012 to this day, Naoya had to fight his compatriots only 3 times, and surprisingly, it was these other Japanese fighters who gave him some of the toughest, or at least the most drawn-out fights of his career. The first was journeyman Yuki Sano, whom the monster faced off against in 2013. Going through 9 full rounds, Inoue managed to deal with his opponent only towards the very end. Immediately after Sano, Inoue had the opportunity to fight Ryoichi Toguchi, a very strong, young, and almost promising fighter. Inoue not only failed to finish him, but also lost at least 3 rounds. Soon after, Toguchi became the WBA World Champion and defended his title multiple times. The most recent Japanese opponent for Inoue until today has been veteran and true Kohei Kono. Don't let his less than impressive record of 32 wins and 9 losses deceive you. Kono, just like a young Naoya, never took fights against knowingly weaker opponents. Since 2007, this crafty boxer has hardly fought outside title bouts, and yes, the majority of his fights have been for titles from major organizations. Right before facing the monster, Kohei narrowly lost the WBA belt by decision and, for his merits, immediately got a chance against the rising star. At that time, Inoue was on a streak defending the WBO title, which he effortlessly took from long-reigning champion Omar Narvaez. The encounter with Kono was supposed to be Inoue's 4th title defense and one of the toughest fights in the Japanese boxer's career. From the first seconds of the fight, Kohei made it clear that he was unlike 99% of Naoya's previous opponents. Hearing about the power of the genius from Zama, they entered the ring somewhat intimidated, causing their styles to be less effective or simply emphasizing defense without intending to attack or open up. Kono knew he would likely take a hit anyway, so he immediately pressed forward and managed to push Naoya towards the ropes. The champion kept up and attacked well, but was still slightly caught off guard by the counterpart's behavior. In the second round, Naoya came back much fiercer, offering his opponent numerous combinations. Kohei blocked some, but mostly took them head-on, simply trying not to fall behind. Towards the end of the 3-minute mark, the tactic started paying off as his opponent started to retreat. During the break, Kono took in some fresh air, which not only refreshed him, but also ignited a second wave of madness as he rushed at Inoue. The former champion was so active that he managed to claim the center of the ring and land a couple of solid bombs on Naoya's confident base, but the price was high, maybe even too high. The thing was, Kono wasn't a power puncher, and all of his straightforward attacks caused discomfort to the monster, whereas Naoya's strikes, even his jabs, looked frightening. Moreover, the monster began reading his opponent's movements, effectively dodging and countering from below. The berserker mode in the veteran lasted until the beginning of the 6th round, and could have lasted a bit longer. But Kono believed in himself too much. In one of the exchanges, Kohei tried to challenge the champion and got knocked out immediately. A crazy left hook came forward. After the knockdown, Kono looked barely alive but still attempted to recover, albeit unsuccessfully, as the champion unleashed a series of menacing strikes. In this fight, Naoya showed that he can not only dominate but also think and adapt to the enemy's actions. In a word, a magnificent performance. Antonio Nieves. Most people engaging in sports, be it combat sports or otherwise, enjoy watching professionals do the same. But if only die-hard enthusiasts watch boxing, our beloved sport would have died several decades ago. Smart promoters and wealthy businessmen understood this, turning boxing into a spectacle that even those not involved in sports would want to witness. And in which country do they excel at creating such spectacles? It's undoubtedly America. The boxing market was established here a long time ago, entertaining fans as far back as the 1930s, and in our time, the promotional craft in America has reached its peak. Now, if a boxer wants to not just win and claim championship belts, but also to earn huge sums of money, they need to buy a ticket to the USA and make the fickle audience fall in love with them. Why am I saying this? Until 2017, Naoya exclusively competed in his homeland and became a local star in just 5 years. But at some point, it was time to move forward, and the champion, along with his team, ventured to the land of opportunities, where prospect Antonio Nieves awaited him. Before his recent fight, the American had an undefeated record of 17-0, but luck wasn't entirely on his side in the bout against Russian Nikolai Potapov, and the judges awarded a split decision victory to the latter. That match had a title implication, contesting the secondary WBO belt, but it was too early for Nieves to grieve. Somehow, his manager secured a fight for him against the full-fledged WBO champion, Naoya Inoue. This deal turned out to be beneficial for both parties, since a win for Antonio would grant him the belt, while the monster would gain fame and a new audience. Inoue started the fight surprisingly cautious, working off his jab and even engaging in some powerful hand, yet these measures were enough to keep Antonio at bay. It seemed the cocky prospect hadn't expected to face the most dangerous man in the business instead of an ordinary bout. After the break, the champion stopped working as gently, unleashing left hooks and incredibly dangerous body and head uppercuts. Nieves had only two options, to run or to endure intense damage. The young prospect chose to alternate between the two, occasionally engaging in short exchanges. However, Inoue saw his punches coming from a mile away, easily parrying them without even twitching his head or body. After two one-sided rounds, Antonio attempted to change his stance, stepping forward and using his lead hand more actively. While he managed to land a couple of jabs, he received a severe punishment in return. Inoue spared no effort in his strikes, maneuvering between the opponent's lunges, leaving him clueless. It seemed at this moment the American audience began to realize who this Naoya guy was. The fifth and sixth rounds became personal hell for Nieves. Inoue grew tired of simply dodging punches and ineffectively hitting the sturdy head, thus focusing on the body, and one of his numerous left blows sent Antonio to the canvas. As soon as Antonio felt the cold canvas, he transformed into an Olympic runner, circling the ring while the champion attempted to wreck his liver. In his attempt to escape the wrath of the Japanese gods, Nieves absorbed a solid number of brutal punches and decided that preserving his organs was more important after the midpoint of the fight. It's over. Naoya Inoue spectacularly announces himself in American territory. Adrian Hernandez. Japan, undoubtedly a great country, but it's always faced certain difficulties with top boxers. The thing is, for the most part, the Japanese are short, slender, yet very resilient people. At first glance, it might seem like these are not bad attributes for a boxer. However, there's an issue. Due to their modest stance, Japanese boxers rarely compete above the featherweight division, which means they constantly have to contend with the kings of the lower weight categories, Filipinos and Mexicans, whose boxing schools are much stronger. It was incredibly tough for the Japanese to compete with these monsters until a few years ago, when a boxer emerged who could change the status quo. And as you might have guessed, I'm talking about Naoya. In his first 5 career fights, Inoue tested himself against his compatriots and Filipinos, and now it was time to face a tough Mexican guy. Among all representatives of the light flyweight division, the young talent had to deal with the toughest and most dangerous Mexican boxer, Adrian Hernandez. At that time, Big Bang was one of the best boxers in the category, evidenced by his WBC title and 4 defenses, boasting an overall record of 29-2. And this was the monster that the 21-year-old Japanese lad with only 5 fights behind him had to face. Inoue was undisturbed by the experience difference and disrespectfully took the center of the ring, immediately launching maximum force and heavy straight punches across all levels. Hernandez wasn't prepared for such a dense barrage, causing him to retreat, leaving himself even more exposed. After 3 minutes of this onslaught, Adrian had to adjust his style, yet he didn't attempt to adapt and continued recklessly attacking Inoue. All the champion could offer were ineffective body shots and clumsy double punches, to which he received immediate responses. Against the backdrop, the monster looked like the perfect boxer. He maintained his distance, moved lightning fast and angled his movements, countered his opponent with a left hook, and effortlessly doubled up punches when necessary, inflicting huge damage. Even the renowned body punches, almost genetically encoded in Mexican boxers, came out far superior and more powerful in Inoue's hands, including the straight to the liver. By the end of the 4th round, Adrian seemed to devise a plan, getting into close range and exchanging whatever he could. Inoue needed just one of these exchanges to develop his strategy. Now, with every close encounter, the Japanese fighter powered up for uppercuts, countered with his forearm, then landed his straight right. Employing this tactic, a boxer with a delicate jaw could easily be knocked out, but the monster astonishingly absorbed the blows and consistently won these exchanges. By the 6th round, the boxers began to decline as they were exhausted from the previous minutes, but Hernandez had absorbed too many hits, which led to his downfall. During one of these exchanges, Inoue harshly rocked him and then pierced him with a straight right. The champion went down on his knees, and the referee, looking at him, understood that was enough. Naoya Inoue, for the first time in his career, claimed a belt from one of the major organizations. It was an extremely grueling, hard-fought battle, but unbelievably beautiful victory for the young genius. And that's it. Like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more exciting content ahead. Which of these bouts featuring Inoue do you find the most spectacular? Can Naoya even become an undisputed champion in the 3rd weight category? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments.